Welcome back. Last time Subaru died for the second time in this arc, and it's been a little while, so let's see where he ended up. Subaru wakes up with his face on the cold ground. Elsa, what was that woman doing in the mansion? This is the graveyard. So, right after the trial? There you go. Subaru said it himself. So, this is right after the first trial. And I guess now that we've had our first real loop for this arc, let me go ahead and go over the timeline. Okay, I'm going to cheat a little bit. Since this arc starts on the same day as the end of the last arc, I've technically counted this day already. So I'm going to skip the first day as part of the totals for this, since it's already been counted. That includes him going back to Cruchet's mansion, Amelia's camp, talking with Cruchet's camp, Subaru's first death. That didn't really add much anyway. So for this arc, I am starting after the first quote unquote day. They stay at Cruchet's mansion for 3 days, according to the novels. They leave Cruchet's mansion, travel about half a day, and then they get to Roswell's mansion, and then they wait 2 more days there. And I'm assuming that's closer to like a day and a half. So I'm counting the travel to Roswell's mansion and the waiting 2 days as the all part of the same 2 days, basically. I feel like I'm making a lot of guesses on this timeline. So they leave the mansion, they go to Sanctuary, and then they take the trial the same night. The web novel is slightly different, but I'm using the anime and the light novel more when it comes to the timeline. That means we are at 6 days before the reset point. And I'll start loop one after that day. So the next day, Amelia tries the trial again, and then 2 days of pretty much nothing. I mean, she's still trying to take the trial, but nothing really happens in the story. Then they leave to go back to the mansion, and Subaru dies that night, which leaves loop one at 4 days. Seeing Amelia still asleep, he rushes to her side. He knows she'll probably fail and wake up soon, so he slowly lifts her up and holds her in his arms, preparing for the breakdown. Subaru. Yeah, that's right. It's me. It wasn't me. It wasn't. I know. It's okay. Everything's okay. Oh boy, Subaru is going to get this every single time he resets now. Which I guess isn't the worst thing in the world. I mean, he doesn't have to redo the trial, so I mean, I guess that's good. Wait, if he had gone back further, would the trial be different? Like the whole trial is for him to conquer whatever fear or problem he has in the past. So he's dealt with this one. So it would have to be something else, right? I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're past that now. All right, let's go over a bunch of web novel stuff here. First, it says that it has been 1 month real time or 2 months Subaru time. And I am pointing back to my video, part three of this arc, where it said that it was 2 months real time and 4 months for Subaru or something like that. And I said they were wrong, and I was fucking right. The web novel fucked it up. We also get some information on how the lights work in the mansion. They're basically just magic crystals that absorb the mana in the atmosphere, and then whenever they're turned on, they turn that mana into light. They don't store enough mana to last 24 hours, so Subaru uses this information to figure out when the mansion was attacked. So since the lights were on, that means shit went down sometime after they were turned on that day, which does mean that he has those 4 days from when he wakes up after the first trial to now, or when he died, I guess. Those 4 days he has as a little bit of a buffer room before anything happens, at least at the mansion. Before Amelia wakes up, Subaru talks with Garfield and comes to the conclusion that Garfield may be able to beat Elsa. Garfield says that he's the strongest, and Subaru follows that up with, "There's a time coming very soon where your power will be needed outside of Sanctuary, I think. When that time comes, I'll be relying on you being the strongest. Prove those words to me." I feel like Subaru hasn't seen enough to think that Garfield can fight against Elsa, so I'm kind of glad that they cut this from the other versions. But anyway, moving on with the story. I'm sorry, I finally calmed down. Are you feeling alright? Yes, because Subaru was there for me, I think. This is different from the last loop, at least for the anime and the light novel. Now, it's not explicitly said anywhere, so this may just be me making shit up. But I think I have an idea for why it's different. In the first loop, Subaru couldn't get her to calm down, so he took her outside, and Ram pretty much knocked her out using medicine or incense or something. In this loop, Subaru does a better job of helping her, and they stay in the sanctuary a little bit longer so that she can calm down a little bit more. So she is just doing better overall for this loop. And I guess it really isn't that much of a stretch. I mean, Amelia literally says that she's doing better. She's calmed down more because Subaru was there for her. We need to talk about the trial now. Yeah, but I've got a pretty good idea of what it's about. It shows you your past, right? How the hell do you know what happens in the trial? You saw the ruins glow, didn't you? I was qualified to do it too, and I passed it. Everyone is shocked. Young Su passed, eh? Assuming he's not joking, that's quite an achievement. If it's true, we can remove the barrier. Garf, how does the barrier look now? No changes. So you lied. Drop dead. You reached that conclusion too fast. If it's true, how? What did you see? I wouldn't say I saw, more like I realized. It seems that there's not just one of these sadistic trials. There are 3 in total, apparently. This conversation is a little bit different in the web novel. Otto is the one to bring up the fact that Subaru went in and didn't get hurt. So it's at that point that he decides to just go ahead and bring up the fact that he has the qualifications. Which is weird for the web novel. Remember, in that version, they went to the graveyard that morning, and Otto watched Subaru go in and didn't get hurt. So I don't know why he's acting like he doesn't remember that now. But it really feels like Topei changed his mind on that real quick. I mean, it's only been a few chapters, and he's already like, nah, I don't like that idea anymore. Amelia, I have a suggestion. You might not like it, though. I could do the remaining trials in your place. I want to be your strength. I don't know what you saw in your past, but if it made you cry so hard and look like you were in such pain, I want to lend you my hand. Hang on. You've been saying whatever the hell you want while we sit here and listen, but I don't want anyone else but the princess, Amelia, being the one who goes through the trial. At the very least, you're the last person I want to see getting rid of the barrier. Okay, before we go too much further, I'm going to go ahead and start keeping track of Garfield's behavior throughout each loop. I remember when I first watched this, I got a little confused on what was happening with him because he is all over the place. And I think the novels do a better job of explaining it, but I'm still going to keep track because I think it will make more sense if I do it this way. So in the first loop, he was a little antagonistic, but honestly, he was pretty friendly for someone who's holding them hostage. By the end, he actually wanted Subaru to take the trial in Amelia's place, which is already very different from this loop. He's more angry at Subaru. Maybe distrusting would be a better word. I'm not sure. But he's very against Subaru taking the trial. Some of this can be chalked up to them just meeting versus knowing each other a few days, but I'll wait and add to this whenever we learn more. In the web novel, before Subaru suggests that he be the one to do the trial, he says out loud to everyone that the only reason that Amelia is being forced to take the trial is so that she can take the credit. He tells them that this was Roswell's plan all along, and he probably faked getting hurt. Well, to some extent. He probably knew that he was going to get hurt, but he did it anyway in order to sell the act that this is some big achievement for Amelia. And Subaru said something similar to this in the last loop. And he is a fucking detective in the web novel. Wait. What? You're surprised I'm against it? You're a real dumbass, you know that? No, I mean, why? Subaru, are you saying you can't trust me with this? Because you saw me failing. So you want to do it instead? That's not it. But you shouldn't have to face your past but if I don't face it, I'll never get past the trial. If I turn my eyes away from things I don't like, leave them all to you, and run away, what would be left for me then? Let's stop talking about this. If she lets Subaru handle everything, then we get the Wrath If story. And probably a few other ones, actually. I haven't read all the If stories just yet. This is one reason I'm not a huge fan of the web novel version for The Last Loop. This is how I expected her to act whenever Subaru brings up that he is also qualified to take the trial. In The Last Loop, she took it as some kind of challenge, but I don't really think she's in the headspace for that. In the novels, Amelia says, if I can't do that much, there's no way I can become king. And I really wish the anime had brought this up. I mean, she was going to take the trial anyway because she feels obligated to, and that's just her personality. But she also thinks that if she fails here, then she's going to fail at her life's goal. And it's not as simple as thinking she could let someone else step in and do this in her place, someone who may be more fit to do it. She is deciding on whether she pushes forward and tries to get what she wants or just gives up on everything. At least that's the way that I got it. That's what I think that she is thinking. Also in the novels, Ram ended the conversation by knocking out Amelia using incense. She she basically does the whole, hey, does this smell like chloroform to you? I mean, I guess it worked. Got a minute? Why are you so opposed to what I suggested? Because it is what young Ross wants. Young Ross believes that Amelia should be the one to liberate the sanctuary. Are you guys backing him on that? Don't get me wrong, I hate that son of a bitch as much as you do, but you get it, don't you? I guess even if the barrier disappears and Sanctuary officially becomes part of his domain, this land is overseen by young Ross. No one among us wishes to defy him and endanger our position. I hope you and the others know that I'm sorry. It just keeps getting harder and harder for me to trust Roswaal. Anyway, it's gotta be the princess who gets through the trial. Even if you are qualified, I ain't letting you do it. Cracks are starting to form in this whole hostage situation. Team Sanctuary is holding them hostage, but also they're still doing everything that Roswaal says. So something's not adding up here. Damn it. No, take it easy. I need to figure out what to do about the mansion. There's no way that insane woman won't do anything to Rem and the new maid. It's Frederica I'm worried about. Does she have ties to Elsa somehow? In any case, I need to get back to the mansion as fast as I can. We didn't see Petra or Frederica at all in the mansion. And in fact, I didn't think it was important at the time, but in the web novel for The Last Loop, Subaru found the secret passageway behind the bookshelf in Roswaal's office, I guess it would be. It's the same room that he found in the last arc where he got frozen in the hallway. So he guesses that they ran away. And it really doesn't explain what happened to them or why they ran, but it's a little bit more info that we didn't get in the other versions. And I also think that's wrong, but we'll see why later. In the light novel, Subaru goes outside to talk to Ryuzu and Garfield. And then after they leave, Ram and Otto join him out there. Apparently they were listening in on the whole conversation in secret, but they talk and discuss on what needs to be done next, which leads him back to talking to Roswaal. So it ends up the same as the anime. In the web novel, Team Sanctuary just tells everybody that they're following Roswaal's plan. So it goes from them just telling everybody, it not being a secret, to the web novel where they tell Subaru, but everyone else is listening in. So it's not a secret, but kind of a secret feeling. And then the anime just completely throws out Otto and Ram even being a part of this conversation at all. And what is it you would like me to do? Get the people of Arlen back home. I want you to bring up that suggestion to Ryuzu and the rest. It doesn't look like I'll be able to get them to agree with me this time. This time? How does this not trigger Miss Grabby Hands? I feel like I need to do more research on what causes this because I'm starting to wonder if Subaru can just go play, I don't know, fucking Pictionary or charades or something and accidentally leak Return by Death. In the last loop, this would have been the time that Subaru tells them about everything that happened in the last arc. Except there's no Ram this time. At Subaru's request, I think. In the web novel, Roswaal mentions that one of his ancestors knew Wilhelm, or knew him a little bit, I guess. Roswaal hasn't met him himself. That's what he says. And I don't think that it's important, but just in case it is, I'm going to go ahead and throw it in here. And why is that? That Garfield punk seems to hate my guts. I don't have time to convince someone as volatile as him. And there's one other thing. I want to go back and tell the people that are still in Arlem that their families are safe. I'm going to go back there alone and tell them that. Of course, I'm also going back to the mansion where Frederica is planning something. Ram has informed me of this. But given what I know about her, Frederica would not be hasty and what do you know? Frederica gave Amelia the glowing stone. That's proof she's planning something. And if she does prove to be an enemy, what will you do? I'm sorry to say, but you stand no chance against her. Amelia's dealing with the barrier. You're injured. Otto won't have any part of this. We're stuck. That is true, with the exception of one person. The other person is Ram, and Roswell's gonna force her to go along with him as his bodyguard. And I do like how Roswell is pretty much just straight up telling him, you're not beating anyone in a fight. I'm gonna have to send someone with you to guard you. The web novel is absolutely nuts during this talk. Subaru asks Roswell if he knows anything about Amelia's past, and Roswell says, damn near everything. He tells almost all of the details involving the forest that he found her in and the rumors around it. The only thing that he doesn't really say is the reason why the events happened. Like, it's to the point that I think I'm just going to skip over everything that he says about that, and we'll just wait until it comes up in the anime. Okay, the web novel is very different from the other versions from this point on. He doesn't go back early. That is just not even brought up at all. He does end up going back with all the other villagers, kind of like what he did in the last loop. After he gets done with Roswell, he leaves the room and talks with Ram. And she mentions Echidna, which brings back his memories of her. And that has me confused. He never acted like he forgot about her in the web novel. So hearing her name somehow unlocked the memories that were never locked. I don't know. Maybe I missed something, but it kind of feels like this is just another thing that Topei changed his mind on after writing a few chapters. Subaru then tries to go back to the graveyard, but Garfield is waiting along the path and stops him. He says that he can smell the witch on Subaru. And it's something that's brought up later on in the other versions. But this helps to explain the sudden mood switch for Garfield. So let's go ahead and add it to the list. Garfield can smell Subaru, or the witch's miasma on Subaru, but we'll keep it simple for the list here. Now, I'm pretty sure he could smell him last time, but remember the smell intensifies whenever he dies or uses the return by death, or when he says that he can return by death and gets the witch hands. So basically anytime Satella like interacts with him. But I guess between the 4 or 5 days, whatever it was, from his last death to the reset point, the smell had kind of reduced enough that Garfield may have noticed, but he didn't think of that it was as big a deal. And now he's died and come back, so the smell is a lot worse, which I think explains why he had the sudden. He wasn't like okay with him the first time they met, but at the very least he didn't like go this crazy. And now he is very much suspicious of him because of the smell. The next morning, Subaru tries to go to the graveyard again, but Garfield literally hasn't moved. But Ryuzu is there bringing him food. So Ryuzu and Subaru go off to an abandoned building so they can talk. Wait, it's Lewis in this version. I'm just going to keep saying Ryuzu just so there's no confusion. But again, the web novel uses a different name. So there are shields on the wall. And they're like four-arm shields. I don't know what they would be called. They come up in the anime later, so you'll see them then. Ryuzu says that those were used by Garfield and Frederica whenever they were little, and Subaru immediately picks up on that. Frederica was inside of the barrier at one point, and she somehow got out. So there is a way to get out of the barrier without completely taking the trials and getting rid of it. Subaru wants to use that loophole to get everybody out, but Ryuzu shuts that down pretty quick without giving any real details. Frederica is just an exception, and we'll learn why later. Ryuzu says that she has never taken the trial, which directly contradicts what she said yesterday when Amelia was taking the trial. And Subaru picks up on that too. He is amazingly perceptive in the web novel. To add to the confusion, Ryuzu says that she cannot lie. And I'm going to go ahead and make it worse by backing her up on this. She has not said anything that's been a lie for this conversation, at least. I don't know about anything else. I'm just going to go ahead and say everything that she said during this conversation has not been a lie. It's more mysteries for later. Let's go ahead and start a mystery. No, I'm not starting another list. I've got too many lists as it is. Amelia then takes the trial again that night, and of course, she fails it. The next day, the villagers go back home, and this is still earlier than it was the first loop, but it's just a day later than the other versions. And in the end, it won't really matter that much. More importantly, Ram does not go back with him, and that is going to change a lot of things that happen at the mansion. If I may be blunt, I don't like this. With Roswaal in his current condition, I don't like the idea of leaving his side. Yeah, but it's not like you can do anything for him, right? I couldn't believe it when I heard that Garfield put those bandages on him. Don't be a fool. What if I had put them on him and only made the injuries worse? Show a little guilt, would you? In the web novel, Otto finally gets to meet Roswaal, and it's actually the first time that he meets him in any version. And we don't get to see the conversation, but apparently Roswaal laughs at him so hard that it opens up his wounds. So take that however you want. Making your triumphant return with a pretty girl on each arm. You've got some real nerve, you know that? It's Patricia and Ram. He's already said that Patricia is a good looking girl, and nope, not gonna comment. I didn't expect to see you out so early in the morning to see me off. Frankly, it still pisses me off that all of this was decided without me, but I ain't gonna fight it. Really? Well, that's good to know. If you had tried to stop me, I would have had to throw Ram off into the distance as a decoy. Like that would even work. Would it? How would I know? Ram? What's wrong? This stupid conversation gave me a headache, that's all. She doesn't remember, but she also kind of remembers. It's gluttony stuff. It's interesting how the memory loss works. Because once he eats someone's identity, then the memories of them are gone. But the memories surrounding those memories are kind of fuzzy. So she does remember being thrown, kind of, but a lot of that situation had to do with Rem. So it just creates a bunch of holes in her memory. And now she has this weird feeling of remembering and not remembering. But Rem's room was empty afterwards, like she never existed. So his ability can make stuff move from where they were, but can't fill in holes in memories. I don't completely understand how his ability works. But I guess that's something I can research later. I should be back tomorrow, so look after things until then. You're not going to say goodbye to the princess? I'm surprised you're actually worried about Amelia, but it's fine. I left her a letter. It is surprising to see Garfield put more thought into Amelia's well-being than Subaru. Perhaps that should have been a signal that Subaru should be rethinking his plan. By the way, don't you have anything to give me? Huh? The hell are you talking about? Then are you going to show some concern for me? You're only nice when you'll get something out of it, aren't you? There. After receiving the crystal, the three start their trip back to the mansion. So, Borosu, will this thing Garf gave us be of some use? What do you think? You've known him longer than I have. Actually, I have no idea. Since it's a matching pair, I'm sure it means something to him. In the light novel, she doesn't even know that he has it, so he's not wearing it like he is in the anime. If he is wearing it, it's hidden somewhere. What you said earlier, when you said that you would throw me as a decoy. It was almost as if something like that had really happened before. Ram, there's something important I need to tell you. The most important thing in the world to you. The only thing that important to me is Roswaal. No, there's something else. There's a girl named Rem. This is the first time that she is hearing about her sister. So she probably doesn't believe him, or not completely anyway. It's talked about a little earlier in the novels, but before all of this happened, her attention and her affection, or whatever, was split pretty even between Roswaal and Rem. Now that her memories of Rem are gone, all of her attention is on Roswaal. So she does kind of come off a little crazy for Roswaal now. And this will play into events that happen later. In the web novel, Ryuzu takes them to the barrier, kind of like what Garfield does in the last loop. And it's more just to show what the barrier does to demi-humans, and just to make sure that Subaru doesn't get any weird ideas. And I mean, he's seen what happened before because he saw what happened with Amelia, but it is Subaru, so reminding him is not a bad idea. She also says that Roswaal will occasionally bring more demi-humans and put them in Sanctuary. This is a little bit important for later on. Okay, this is a decent stopping point, so I'm just going to go ahead and stop here. Next time, we will see how Subaru deals with all of the problems at the mansion, or more likely discovers more problems. Anyway, that's it. See ya.